Hi there, in today's video, I will show you how to set up permission filtered responses using Amazon Q Business. Before we get started, make sure you have set up the Q Business application and configured IAM Identity Center for user access. Amazon Q Business is a generative AI assistant that helps answer questions, generate content, and manage tasks using data from your enterprise systems. It integrates with over 40 built-in connectors to securely access data from various sources within your organization. In this demo, we will walk through how to set up permission filtered responses based on each user's access level. Amazon Key Business uses IAM Identity Center for secure user authentication, ensuring that each user's access is precisely managed. For our demo, we will use S3 as data source. The data is organized in an S3 bucket with clear structure that includes main bucket, necessary prefixes, and organized files. As part of crawling process, we ingest document content and as well as information on document permissions. Document permissions specify which users and groups have access to that document. When a user runs a query, we gather the information about their groups from the identity provider. When we run the query against the index, we check the user and group permission to ensure that only documents or contents with the right user permissions are returned. Thus, the final responses are only from the content that the user is authorized to access. You do not have to worry about sensitive information leaking across teams and employees. For S3 as a data source, we will have to write a ACL file to determine the permission. Let's look into the ACL configuration file. The configuration file contains a JSON structure that identifies an Amazon S3 prefix and lists the access setting for the prefix. The prefix can be a path or it can be an individual file. If the prefix is a path, the access setting applies to all of the files in that path. You provide three pieces of information in the file. The name of the entity, that can be user email address or group name. The type of entity, you can use user or group. The access that entity should have, that could be either deny or allow. In this demo, we have the data for any company stored in an S3 bucket. Inside this bucket, we have several folders. The Finance folder contains a document called Finance Report. The Sales folder holds the territory sales report in an Excel format. The Settings folder stores the policy document, which defines how access is managed for each file in this bucket. Let's take a look at the IAM policy that governs access in this scenario. In the policy, we specify the file path and the groups that should have access to each document. By doing this, we can set precise permission for individual files within the bucket. Let's get started. First, navigate to Amazon Q Business. I've already set up the Q Business application, configured IAM Identity Center, and uploaded the documents to S3. Here you can see group assigned to my Q Business application, which was automatically carried over from IAM Identity Center. Now let's update the ACL for the data source to manage access to our documents. Start by clicking on Data Sources and selecting the data source. Under the Settings tab, you will find more details about it. In this demo, our data source is connected to an S3 bucket containing our company data. Next, we will define the ACL for this data source. The ACL is a JSON file we have already uploaded to S3 bucket under the Settings prefix. Start by browsing to locate the JSON file. Filter patterns let us specify which folders and files to include or exclude from Amazon Q Business crawl and indexing process. In our case, we will exclude the settings folder since we don't need those ACL settings in the knowledge base. Once you are ready, update the data source. Click Sync Now to initiate crawling and indexing process. This will synchronize the data
and apply the appropriate permission based on each user's access level. Now let's go ahead and launch the Q Business web experience. First, open up the Q Business application, then just click on the deployed URL to get started. To test our setup, I will log in as Kenny, who is the finance user, and Kenny will ask questions regarding the end of year financial statement. Since Kenny is a member of the finance manager group, Q Business will honor the request and return the corresponding response. We can also verify the source of the data. Kenny now wants to access details from the sales report, which is also stored in the same S3 bucket. However, since Kenny is not a member of the sales manager group, he will be denied access to any information from the sales report. Based on Kenny's permission, QBusiness will only look up information in the data repositories that Kenny has access to. It will not have knowledge of any other data sources. Now let's log in using Lucy's credentials. Lucy is a member of Sales Manager Group. We will ask the same sales related question that Kenny attempted earlier. Since Lucy has access to the data, she will receive the summarized response from QBusiness. You will also be able to see the data source that QBusiness used to retrieve the information. Lucy tries to ask same finance question Kenny asked. But since she only has access to sales data, QBusiness is unable to retrieve the finance information she needs. To wrap up, Amazon Q Business ensures secure data access by integrating with your existing roles and permissions. With proper role-based permissions, you can keep your data safe and ensure only authorized users have access. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you to set up your security settings in Amazon Q Business.